That time of year again, guys. The sun shines out and the temperatures are warming up. We're here to unwinterize and sanitize this RV. Easy to break down into two simple steps. Number one, push all the old antifreeze through the lines, and number two, sanitize the system. You don't need an engineering degree to figure out how this is done. We'll walk you through it step by step. Stay tuned. Step number one, if you guys have maintained your battery through the winter time, go ahead and get that hooked up. Get your power cord pulled out and hooked up to shore power, and then go ahead and check to make sure that your black valves and your gray valves are both in the shut position. Step number two, go ahead and reinsert your hot water drain plug, which you should have pulled out over the winter time, or your anno rod if you have one. And then get your water hooked up to your fresh water tank. Turn that on, start filling the tank, and go ahead and open the fresh water drain valve. Now, obviously, with the drain open and the tank filling up, you're going to see water coming out of there. The reason that we're doing this is to flush all that old stagnant water that's been sitting all winter in the tank out. We certainly don't want that through the system or drink it or use it or anything like that. Most of the drains that are on these tanks are not on the bottom of them, so it usually leaves about 2.5 inches of water or so in the tank, and we're just trying to get that all flushed out. Go ahead and flush this out for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and then you can shut the fresh water drain and kill the water. Step number three, in the camper. Now, if you guys have a antifreeze hose on your fresh water pump, most likely you're still going to have some antifreeze in that hose, or at least sitting on the three-way valve. So we want to get that flushed out. We don't want that sitting there all season. It's as simple as just grab a bucket of water, stick the hose down in there, turn your pump on for just a second, run one faucet for just a minute, or not even a minute. Run one faucet for just a second or two, pump that stuff out of there just to get the antifreeze off the three-way valve. Once you do that, switch the valve on your water pump so it's sucking from the fresh water tank and no longer from the antifreeze fill hose. Step number four is going to have to do with pushing all the antifreeze out of the lines. First thing that we want to make sure of is that our hot water tank is still in bypass mode. The reason for this is very simple. We don't want to introduce any of our sanitizing solution, which we're going to make up in just a second, to that hot water tank. Obviously, we all know bleach is corrosive. We don't want that inside the metal tank because it'll certainly react with it and cause you all sorts of issues. I know that there's some other people on here saying go ahead and run it through there, but not something I would recommend doing at all. Now you can go back outside and unhook your hose from your fresh water fill tank and screw it into your city water connection. Once you got that hooked up, we're going to run back inside and start running water at the faucets. I like to do them one at a time. It doesn't matter which one you start at. We're going to go ahead and start in the kitchen. You want to do your hot water first, turn that off, and then you're going to want to go ahead and do your cold water as well, so do them separately. Once you get through with the kitchen, go ahead and move on to the bathroom, the toilet. Make sure you hit your outside shower if you have any of those. But go ahead and hit all the faucets around. Again, hot first, then cold. Wait till it runs all the antifreeze out of it. You should see it running pink. It'll chug and make a lot of noise and hiss and piss and do all sorts of things for you. But eventually it'll start running water through the system. At this point, also go ahead and flush your toilet as well and let that run until you don't see any pink coming down into the toilet bowl. Now that we flushed all the antifreeze out of the water lines, it's time to go ahead and sanitize the system to get rid of any bacteria, mold, odors, that sort of things that may have built up in the lines over time. Number five is going to be to go ahead and mix up your sanitizing solution. Now, most RV manufacturers are recommending about 1/4 cup of bleach per 15 gallons of water. That is the ratio that we're going to use today. We're going to sanitize with 15 gallons. It'll help with the tank, get all the lines. That's plenty of water for all you need. You might want to double check your manufacturer's recommendations just to double check that that's what they're calling for as well. Now, the other thing you want to do is make sure you're using like a regular strength bleach. You don't want to start using germicidal or disinfectant or splash proof. All that stuff's a lot stronger than normal. I think it's at like 7.5% versus 5%, so you'd have to reconfigure the math if that's all that you had on hand. One more thing to keep in mind is you never want to pour bleach directly into your tank. Always dilute it in your mix first and then add that to your tank. Pouring bleach directly down that fill hose could certainly cause a lot of issues as far as cracking, breaking. These things aren't made to handle straight bleach like that, so make sure you're diluting your solution and then pouring it into the fresh water tank. Now, after we get the sanitizing solution filled into the tank, we're going to come inside, put on your pump, and go to each faucet and start running them until you get a faint bleach smell coming out of the water. Again, you want to do hot and then cold separately at each one of your faucets. Now at this time, we're not going to flush the toilet. Make sure we're not running this bleach solution through the toilet as well. We don't want that bleach eating up any of the seals that are around the toilet or the tank or anything like that. So we're also not going to introduce any bleach to that. You got to keep in mind, sometimes bleach breaks down enzymes. People might have tank treatment in there, or however you guys are handling that. We do have a video up here on what we recommend. If you're adding bleach to that system, that could throw the whole thing for a loop. So let's just avoid it. We're not going to put any bleach in the toilet system. We don't want to ruin seals. We don't want to ruin what we got going on in the black tank. We'll just leave that alone for now. Now, guys, it's just let the solution sit in the tanks and the water lines for 4 or 6 hours, something like that in between. I wouldn't let the solution sit in there much longer than that. That's not what anybody's recommending, and we're not trying to cause any damage. After the solution sat around, it's a good idea to come inside, run all the faucets again, hot and then cold, just to flush those out. Go ahead and open your freshwater drain. Let the rest of the solution drain out. I like to refill it and let it drain one more time just to make sure that nothing's sitting in there. When we do get hooked up next time at the campsite, we're not running bleach water solution when trying to make coffee or whatever you're using your water for. And the last step is going to be to go outside and open your low point drains. You want to get out any antifreeze that may be sitting in them or the sanitizing solution. Once you get those opened up, everything drained out, you can go ahead and close them. Once you guys close your low point drains, head inside and switch your bypass valve on your hot water tank. If there's something you guys do different to unwinterize your RV, let us know down in the comment section. We're always willing to learn, and maybe other people would find it helpful. Hopefully with the tips that we showed you guys today, you'll be able to tackle this on your own and be ready for springtime camping. We appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next week.